Welcome, everyone. My name is Jessica Morrison, Realtor with Ferris Property Group, and today is Thanksgiving, which is wonderful. And for full transparency, this is a pre-recorded webinar, but today we have Deputy Chief Greg Lanham with us from Whitestown Fire Department, who's going to share some holiday tips for fire safety in the coming weeks. So, Greg, thank you so much for dedicating your time, not only to the fire department, but also for another interview.
Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. First, I want to start off by saying happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. I know 2020 has been a challenge. Thanksgiving is a challenge. There's been a lot of talk of altering how we're doing Thanksgiving. So I know people are doing things different than the way they've ever done it. But I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be together with my family, and I hope everyone out there is having a great day and enjoying their day.
Yes. So, Greg, let's start off first and foremost. Christmas trees tend to get all of the heat around fire safety with holidays, but what would you say is the top priority for people to pay attention to in their homes for fire safety?
So, speaking of Christmas, absolutely. Let me address the Christmas trees right off the bat. Absolutely, Christmas trees are dangerous. So, and when we talk Christmas trees, typically we're talking live Christmas trees. Some older fake Christmas trees, if you will, are a fire hazard. Typically, most of the new Christmas trees are fire resistant, and so I would encourage you, if you've purchased a new tree this year, to keep the tags on it. A lot of times we get things like that, and we're so excited, and we get it out of the box, and we take all the tags off, and we put it up, and we want to enjoy it. But it's really important that you keep the tag that comes with the tree for the years to come, because you're going to put it back. A lot of times you put it back in that same box. That however you store it, keep that tag with the tree so you understand what the tree is made of, and if it's fire resistant, so that you'll know in the future. Lights going on trees, you want to make sure that you're checking them. Whether it's a live tree or not, you want to make sure that your lights that you're putting on aren't frayed. If you've got wires that are frayed, bulbs that are broken, different things like that can cause issue. Whether your light doesn't work, which is a bummer, and we struggle with that every year, or you have a chance of either being electrocuted or causing a fire. So you want to, without plugging the lights in, look at the strand of lights and see if you see anything like that, and check it quickly or carefully. And then you'll want to consider, if it's a live tree, going through the steps on how you protect that. So you want to make sure when you get your tree home, if they have not already cut the base of the tree at a 45-degree angle, you'll want to do that. And the reason for that is the same reason if you buy flowers. When you get flowers from somewhere, the instructions will tell you to cut it at a 45-degree angle before you put it in for water. What that does is it's a new cut, and the tree can actually continue to drink water. So while you have it set up, it will drink water, and you'll need to check it and put water in the base every couple of days. If not, the tree will get very dry, the needles will start falling off, and it will definitely be a fire hazard. So lights on the tree, cutting the tree at 45-degree angle, lights on the tree can be an issue. Some traditionalists used to put candles on their trees. We highly recommend that you do not do that. There's all kinds of battery operated candles that are out there and look surprisingly just like a true candle. So you want to do those things. You don't want to put a candle on the tree. But candles or open flames in general, anywhere around any type of decoration in your home, is an issue. So you want to watch having candles near your tree or any type of decorations in your home. If you have a fireplace, we have a fireplace. We love our fireplace, and we love having it on during the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. But that comes with issues. If you have young kids in your home and you have a fireplace, so you want to be careful with that they don't get too close to that or get injured with that. If you have things on your mantle, we hang stockings on our mantle, and those are an issue. So we make sure that we spread them out and they're not directly over the fire. If we light the fireplace, so we're checking anything that's up there that might catch fire. you want everything to be at least 3 feet away from an open flame. So that's, whether it's a candle or that fireplace. Let's see. So besides, and I kind of touched on the live tree, you want to make sure you cut it at 45, you're watering it, and then you'll watch if there's an issue. If your tree all of a sudden is dropping a lot of pine needles or the needles off the tree, you may want to investigate why. So either you're not giving enough water or something else is going on with the tree. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to get rid of it right then, but what that means is you need to really be diligent of watching any open flame around it and just be careful. We have a,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Sorry, quick question.
Yeah.
So regarding live Christmas trees, how often do you want to be watering that tree? How much? And then is as a side comment on the candles, it's funny to think that there was a time when people thought that open candles on Christmas tree was a good idea.
Right.
And I'd love to learn more after this about the history behind that. And then secondly, questions around pets with trees or any
Sure.
safety around that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So your first question on the tree, as far as watering, I'll be quite honest, is I don't know that there's necessarily you have to do it every day or you have to do it every 3 days. It really depends on the tree. So the bigger tree you have, the more water it's going to drink. So you'll have a base, and I'm not sure, Jessica, if you have a live tree or not, or if you've ever had a live tree. Mm-hmm. So down at the bottom, there is a limited amount of water that you can put in it. So depending on the size of the tree is how fast it's going to drink that water up, if you will. Mm-hmm. So you may find that you have to water it every day, or you may be able to get away with watering it every third day. When you buy the tree, whether you buy it from Home Depot or you go out to a live Christmas tree farm, they'll also have instructions on watering your tree and how to do that. Mm-hmm. So they'll be able to help you with that. Candles, and I'm sorry, you asked about pets. So pets and children a lot of times can kind of fall into the same group, as in they're so excited, right? Whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, or if you have a pet, you just walk in the door, they're excited to see you, and things can happen. So when you start talking about pets around either open flames or Christmas trees, just in general, just to be able to, so you don't get hurt, it's real important that you know your pet. So whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever your pet is, you know how they act around things like your Christmas tree. So if they don't respect the tree, as in we had a dog, we would put the ornaments until we had the dog a couple of years and she was trained. We had all of our ornaments higher up on the tree because she would pull them off and eat them. And a lot of times, same with our kids, we didn't put any of our glass ornaments lower. We bought ornaments for the first few years of our kids' lives that were not really, we've been okay if they play with them, but we were okay if they knocked them off because they just were so excited to be around the tree that they wanted to touch and do things, so the ornaments would fall off. Well, we wanted the glass ones higher up. So those are things you can do to protect your kids and your tree and your pets, just by knowing them and being prepared for what they're going to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've heard also we got 2 kittens in July and they look full grown at this point, but and for the most part they've been wonderful, but the Christmas tree has definitely got a big question mark around it this year.
That's a new climbing. If you've got cats, that's a new place for them to climb.
That's what I've heard, is they like to climb up in there. And so I think this year's going to be minimal in the Christmas tree decorating, maybe lights and, just, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, they surprised me yesterday. I pulled out some Christmas decor and they kind of sniffed at it and got one of those like fake little trees with fake snow on it. And Elijah tried to eat some of the snow and then he realized that that's not actually edible or interesting. So and it's been fine ever since. So I think your pets and your kids can probably surprise you. And it's, as a side comment, pets have definitely been a good training wheel exercise we'd like to start a family in the next year or so, but it's definitely been a good precursor to life with kids. So
My daughters have cats, and talking about lights, you're saying you'll have minimal decorations, but those light cords, I can't tell you how
yes,
many times my daughter's cat, Alice, has chewed through her phone charging cable
yes.
or cord. So she picks that thing up all the time. Now, Alice is a little bit older and she's quit doing that as much, but those are just things that you learn, hopefully, with your pets, that what they like to chew on, and you kind of decorate accordingly, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. They go back and forth, and sometimes I think it just goes back to energy, making sure that, they're putting that energy in the right direction instead
Right,
of something
right.
that's a bad channel. Okay, so we've talked about Christmas trees, both fake and real. There's certainly, I think, some more concerns with a live tree, but as you said, we still need to make sure that that tag that comes with the tree is on it to properly maintain that tree or to keep our family safe. You addressed fireplaces minimum 3 feet away, or is it 4 feet?
3 feet.
Okay. And then candles, I know, was a big subject for you. And I don't know if you've expanded on that enough or if you want to talk more about it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I absolutely can. Not to interrupt, but candles are one of those things that we they just can add to a room. I mean, whether it's they're burning and the scent they give off, the way they look. We all love candles, but so do kids. So it's just really important that if you have young kids and you want to light a candle, that it needs to be out of reach. And kids like I said, know your kid. If they like to climb, then you got to maybe consider not lighting candles, because if when kids want to see something or do something, they kind of find a way. So, but it's just really important that if you're going to light a candle, that you're aware that if you have young kids, that they're going to go at it. And if you're grandparents and you don't have kids, but you might have grandchildren that are going to come over, or nieces or nephews that are going to come over. So be aware of that. If it's just, you by yourself and you can light that candle and it doesn't matter where it's at, but just remember on that holiday, you're going to have a lot of people visiting. So keep that in mind and watch out for those candles.
Speaking of heat, are there any suggestions around space heaters? We are coming into a time where certain rooms of the house can get colder, or we might leave certain types of heating units on. Do you have any suggestions around safety with that?
Absolutely. It goes back to the same thing with a fireplace or any open flame. You want anything that's combustible to be at least 3 feet away from them. So in the winter, things get cold and we move around in our home, and we different places in our home are colder than others. So we sometimes have a space heater. So we want to be really careful with those, especially around blankets, around things like, well, I want that space heater, I really want to feel it, so you move it kind of close to you, and you have blankets or a couch or something like that that's flammable, that can really cause danger. And you want to make sure that when you're getting up and leaving, you want to make sure you turn that space heater off. That's kind of the same thing with candles. If you're going to leave, you don't want to leave the candle burning, even though it's in glass, or even though that, I won't be gone very long. It's famous last words that, you don't think you're just going to be gone a minute, and next thing you know, life happens and you're gone 30 minutes, and bad things can happen. So you want to make sure anything combustible is at least 3 feet away.
Yep. I actually had a client one time do an open house, and they left candles on all throughout the house. And or I've come into open houses in general, and sometimes homeowners have left the house and left candles on, and my anxiety just goes through the roof. And I'm like,
Sure.
I love you guys, and I'm sorry if this is upsetting to you, but I blow them out right away, just because I can't personally attend or watch that, to where I guess if the wax gets to be too much, it'll, put itself out, but still it's not worth it. Or all it takes is somebody walking through and they don't see it and they accidentally hit it, and then it gets spilt. Or so it's just something that, as a homeowner, open houses are very, very lean right now just because of COVID. Whenever I talk to clients about the possibility of doing one. Many people don't feel comfortable with the idea. I've actually not done any this year because of that. And but generally speaking, when open houses are conducted, it's something that I can see people going back and forth on, but in my opinion, it's just not worth it. So I know that's a side conversation, but yes. And I would say too, if you're watching this and you do light a candle, and you're planning to host people, always ask if candles are something that would be appreciated by everybody. I know people who have extreme sensitivity to fragrances and smells, and like the smell, we might not, recognize it, but it can give one of our loved ones a headache or a migraine. And then what's supposed to be a really fun event, it turns into a nightmare for them. So out of respect for your guests, just always ask if that's a good idea.
In my profession, we don't wear, while we work, we don't wear anything that, aftershave or anything like that, because if you go on an EMS run, if someone has allergies or asthmatic, you can trigger that. So, same thing with a candle, people can have allergies to it. So it's just good to know and to be careful for everyone. Hey, Jessica, I know we have limited time, and I've got kind of a couple things of some points that we want to make sure that we cover. And if you don't mind, let's start with Thanksgiving really quick. We kind of started a little bit talking about Christmas, and I'd like to back up and talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. And, we love to eat. It sounds funny, but Thanksgiving is, we are so blessed and we have so many things to be thankful for. And one of them is, for us, we love to fry our turkey. We love that taste of a fried turkey. So that comes with its own issues. So if you're frying a turkey, I just want to make sure that everyone realizes that you need to fry your turkey outside. We've been on runs or we've had fires where people have tried to fry their turkey indoors or fry it in a garage. It's just not smart. So you want to make sure you fry your turkey outside, follow the directions, talking about the temperature of your grease, be prepared for it to bubble over, wear appropriate clothing when you're frying a turkey. We're lucky here not lucky, but in Indiana, it's usually cool or cold around Thanksgiving. So we're probably going to have long pants on, but surprisingly, not everybody wears long pants. Some people like to wear shorts a lot. Well, don't fry a turkey in shorts. You want to make sure you have closed-toed shoes on, long pants, you have appropriate gloves, because when you're putting that turkey in the hot grease, it's going to bubble, right? So it's going to come out and over. So that's when you have your greatest chance of flame, because the grease will bubble over the outside of the pot and then go down to that open flame and catch fire if you put it in too quickly or if you have your grease too hot. So those are just things that you want to make sure you're aware of and be prepared for. So dress appropriately, have all the equipment that you need, and know how long you're going to cook your turkey and cook it outside. So the other quick safety tips for Thanksgiving is to remember is there's a good chance, even though because of COVID, we're asking people not to have large groups, you're still maybe going to have more people in your home than you're used to. Even if it's just 2 more people, when you have more people in a kitchen than you're used to, things can happen, especially when you include kids. So be smart in your kitchen. Watch out for kids as they're coming through. Don't leave food cooking on the stove and walk out of the kitchen and leave it unattended. It's amazing how fast grease can catch fire. If you do have a small fire or a fire on your kitchen, you want to make sure you have your extinguisher handy, or a lid to that pot, or some flour or baking soda that you can put on it. A lid is ideal, or an extinguisher would be ideal as well. And don't forget, if anything like that happens, you can call 911, even if you get it put out, and we'll come out and check and make sure everything's good and assist you. You can always disregard us, but don't wait. The other things you want to make sure is, we've talked about candles and fireplaces. Is there anything else on Thanksgiving you have a question about before we maybe touch on a few more things on Christmas?
No, I just have a comment on the turkey situation. I have seen a couple of videos with people tying some type of like bolt into the turkey, and then they have a rope connected to it, and then they will throw the rope over like a tree limb and slowly lower the turkey into the frying pan, so it's a
Yep.
more controlled way
Okay.
and it keeps the distance. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but when you were discussing frying the turkey, that's what came to mind.
Sure. Yeah. There's people are ingenious. They come up with different ideas for things like that. That's absolutely fine. You know, finding a way to be able to lower that turkey in without having to be right next to it. The issue with that is what you want to make sure is if you're doing that, it's because you're concerned that the grease may boil over. Well, being away from it so it doesn't boil over onto you is great. But if it boils over, it can still catch fire. And once it catches fire, then you have an issue. So you want to make sure whether you're standing right next to the pot or you're throwing a rope over a limb and lowering it in, that you lower it slowly and controlledly with control, because putting it in too quick, even when your turkey is dry, putting it in too quick can cause it to boil over. So just want to be careful and be aware of that.
Yep. We've got a couple minutes, Greg, we're short on time. So did you have anything that you wanted to leave people with for Christmas?
So we spoke quite a bit about interior Christmas decorations and fireplaces and candles. So let's talk a minute about exterior decorations. So we love putting lights on our house. I've already put mine up, ready for Christmas. But something that struck me as odd or dangerous is a better term I'd like to use. So I was at a local store buying some Christmas lights, and they're in the Christmas area. They had all these different lights that you can choose from and different ways to hang the lights. I buy the little plastic clips that clip onto the light and slide under the shingles or hook to the gutter, if you will. So in that area, they also had a staple gun and staples. I really, really want to encourage everyone out there that's hanging Christmas lights not to use staples. And let me tell you why. So your Christmas lights it is a cord. It's like an extension cord. So you've got power running through that cord. If you pierce that cord with a metal staple and it goes into wood, it can catch fire. Not only can you get shocked, but if you leave it, and imagine it rains, that can cause an issue. So putting lights up with staples is never a good idea. There's plenty of plastic clips out there. I know they're a little more expensive, but they are safe and easy to use. Staples are just not a way to go. So if you're putting lights on the exterior of your home, you want to make sure the lights can be outside. So when you go and buy your lights, look on the package. Most of them typically say indoor and outdoor, but some of them do say interior only. And you want to make sure you don't use those outside. If you're going to hang lights on your home and you need a ladder, be careful. You don't want to be climbing up on a ladder and fall off. We've gotten a lot of rain recently. Things start getting cold, and we have ice and snow on the ground if you haven't gotten your lights up yet. Those are just ways that ladder can kick out from below you and you can fall. So be careful getting up on a ladder and getting on a roof. So you want to make sure you're careful about that. And then I'm trying to think, there was one other thing I want to talk about outside, but just as the weather changes, as everyone knows, it brings ice and snow. So make sure you're prepared. Get your salt now, or whatever you like to put down on your sidewalks and your driveways, because all it takes is just a really thin layer of frost, and we can fall and get injured. So you want to be ready to put something down, and just be careful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did you have any thoughts on some families when they decorate do like the yard decorations or anything overnight? Any concerns with that?
Yeah, there are some issues with using the correct extension cords. You can decorate and keep things outside. It's good to have them shut off so they're not on for extended period of time. But we're excited about our Christmas lights and we like people to see them. But you want to be smart and make sure you're using an extension cord that can be used outside, and that you have a way for the lights to shut themselves off It's great to think that, well, when I go to bed or whenever, I'm going to go out and shut them off. And I've tried to do that before, but there's been multiple times where I wake up in the morning and go, oh, shoot, I forgot to shut my lights off. So it's great to have some type of a timer so that they do shut off, and that you're buying the correct timers that are made to be outside, because not all timers can be outside or in the weather. So that's really smart as well. When you're hooking Christmas lights together, you want to make sure that you read the instructions on how many you can hook together. You know, there's a limit. You can't just hook every light together. You'll start blowing fuses in the lights themselves, which is great because they're protecting you from starting a fire when you overextend the lights.
Yeah. Well, Greg, I know we are right up on time. So thank you so much for, again, sharing your wisdom with us. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would prefer for people to connect with their local fire department if they have further questions on this. Is that
Absolutely.
correct? Okay.
Almost all fire departments have a website, and we in Whitestown, we update it all the time with to keep it current. So we're updating with safety things for the holidays, for winter. Reach out to your local fire departments if you have questions. But if you don't live in Whitestown and you want to call, feel free to give me a call, and I'm happy to answer any questions I can. Just the most important is be careful, be safe, and thank you for watching this webinar.
Yes. Thank you so much, Greg, and everyone tuning in. We hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and holiday week, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.